Welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Zen Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Serial Sensei. We're on episode 101. It is nice and early Sunday morning. I'm joined with my co-host, Antaku. What's going on, man?
I'm tired, but nothing's changed.
Yeah, another one of those days. I think I'm just tired just because this weather is like kind of whack.
I know I only got 5 hours of sleep. Like I went to sleep around 2, and I woke up at 7.
Yeah, I did. I think I did it about the same. Well, not 2 o'clock though. I want to sleep a little bit after this car went off. Which, thankfully, due to all the violence that we witnessed last night, this car went by fairly, I don't want to say fast, but it was paced.
It didn't feel like a slog.
Yeah.
And we didn't. The worst is like when they have when they're on pay-per-view. And to me, this is worse than when they do it on FS1, because at least on FS1 makes sense. Like on pay-per-view, and they'll advertise like the upcoming the next pay-per-view, and they'll do it so like they'll do it so much to the point of like parody. It's like, don't forget about us, guys.
Right.
It's like when they advertise like Fight Pass to people who have Fight Pass.
Right, like we're already paying.
Right.
We don't need to see this.
Dude, just show us the violence so we can go home.
Right.
Go about our lives, but like there wasn't a whole bunch of that. There were some, but because I guess they only have one fight that matters. I guess for UFC 229, we were saved that. Plus, they have press conferences and shit that coming up that they're gonna try and do.
Yeah. So
it makes sense when you get a lot of that.
And it probably went fast because we did unfortunately lose the fight, but we'll get into that.
I was thinking about that. This was a 14-fight card, like Friday morning.
Well,
like what the? Because there were 4 fights on the undercard, 4 fights on the prelims, the TV prelims, and then 5 fights on the main card. But so there was like there were what, 13? Why was this a 14-fight card?
I don't know. They tried to squeeze in.
Like we're heading in the complete opposite direction where we should be. Where like we should be where cards should be taking up less of our Saturdays. Like this is like, nope, you're gonna fucking sit there for an extra hour.
Yeah, I was thinking, well, you know what? Even had we had that other fight, I don't envision that fight would have went much. That fight wouldn't have lasted that long. But.
I could have started going over 5 rounds, to be honest.
Well, I don't know. I guess I don't say we'll never find out, but
we'll never know, because the UFC will never let you fight for that title ever again.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, we'll get to this card in a little bit. Real quick before we go, as always, you can listen to us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play. If you're on iTunes, rate, subscribe, leave a review. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com, and hit us up on Facebook at the Facebook page, Dojo Talk Podcast, all that good stuff. Top listeners for the week: number 1, Farnham in the United Kingdom, if I'm saying that right. Number 2, Bogart, California. Number 3, Clifton, New Jersey. Number 4, El Cerrito, California. Number 5, St. Mary's, Pennsylvania. And tied with number 6, Cairo, Egypt, snuck back in there. So thank you to those random Egyptian listeners, who keep finding their way back.
I'm curious. Like, does the viewership go up the week before from Cairo? Does it go up like a week before the 1 cards? like we like during and after or before or whatever the one cards, like do we get like that little bit of surge in MMA one fans from Egypt?
Could be. Maybe they just roll over because they think we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which I will. I'll give it a quick mention because it actually was a pretty fun card. But we'll start with news and notes and things that happened throughout the week. So not a whole lot, at least compared to last week where I felt like it was just a laundry list of things that happened. But so fight announcements that happened since the last time we recorded. We got Claudia Gadelha and Nina Ansaroff will be fighting at UFC 231. UFC Milwaukee got a pretty good number of fights announced. We got Dan Hooker versus Edson Barboza, Andrea KGB Lee and Jessica Rose Clark, Bobby Green and Drake R. Close, Jack Hermanson and Gerald Mearshart. I think those are all the ones from Milwaukee. Then we have Court McGee and Alex Garcia for UFC Moncton. Paul Felder and James Vick verbally agreed to fight in December. I think that Milwaukee card is in December, but it's not signed yet, so I'm guessing that fight might be on that card, but I'm not 100% sure. But either way, those two seem like they'll be thrown down. In UFC Denver, we got Ricardo Ramos and Ricky Simon. UFC 231 also will have Alexander Rakic and Devin Clark. And at Invicta FC 31, we'll have Felicia Spencer and Pam Sorensen. Will be fighting for the vacant featherweight title. And other news outside of the UFC, Eric Silva signed a multi-fight deal with Bellator. And Clayton Thibault, who's been getting a couple... I feel like we've been talking about him a lot lately for whatever reason. His retirement ended after like 2 days.
Well, they didn't retire. He got.
Oh yeah.
He I don't remember if the UFC just refused to resign him.
Yeah, I think that was yeah. I think he just didn't get re-signed.
Yeah, so he was immediately fielding offers from like everybody according to him.
He was hot in the streets and he
Which
got
is
picked
weird.
up. Right. But hey, he got picked up. Not into the destination I think anybody was looking at. But he'll be on that Golden Boy MMA card. Along with Chuck and Tito. He does not have a named opponent yet, but it will be at welterweight, and he says he's feeling pretty good at welterweight. So,
what's BJ's status like, contract-wise? Could we see him fight Gleason now?
I don't want to see that.
If they're just gonna go for all the old man UFC fighters, like,
I gotta imagine BJ's fight with Ryan Hall has to be like a one-off. Like he can't. He's got to be a free agent after that.
I mean, I feel like the UFC just has him signed in like perpetuity. But you know, like, what's Rampage's deal with Bellator? Like, does he have a fight coming up? Oh, he has the Vanderlei fight.
Yeah.
But like, could we get that quick turnaround so he could be on this Golden Boy card?
This card is gonna be just.
Like, I just want all the fights to be sad.
I'm pretty sure this card won't be that far from that. Like
they all go the distance. Everybody looks horrible. like everybody's pulling the Houston Alexander Kimbo Slice. Like, why are we still doing this? Hands on our knees, hacking up lungs.
I think this card is gonna be a setup. I think Oscar De La Hoya is gonna find like two legit prospects, and they're gonna kick off the card, and it's gonna be like a really great fight. And then after that, it's going to go straight to the 40-year-old men. Like, all of the toughest dads in the world.
Well, like, Oscar's whole, like, gimmick, well, not gimmick, is, like, he was, like, big with Mexican Americans, and, like, that's who he is great at advertising for. That's why Canelo sells so damn much. So, like, there's already an organization fully committed to doing that. And it's Combate Americas. So... I'm wondering, like, what is his gimmick? What's it going to be? Is he going to continue, like, I'm going to get all the Mexican Americans to come and watch my fight card? Or is it going to be like, I'm just going to find two random dudes who the UFC and Bellator haven't already snatched up?
I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot of old blood.
I think he should just go the old man route. Just get all former UFC fighters to fight on one card and let it be sad.
He can make make it, just call it like Legends Fighting Championship and just grab all of the old guys and just let them have at it. You know, if they don't want to quit on their own, you know.
Faded Golden Boy MMA.
Let them juice. just go all in. Just let them juice. Let them fight in all of their old man, you know, glory, and just let it rock out. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I want to circle back real quick before we move on to Edson Barboza and Dan Hooker.
No easy fights at lightweight.
Yeah.
Because Barboza's had like 5 years being off his life at this point in his last 2 fights.
And I mean, like he's fighting the young gun, but you know Hooker's been out here. You know he's been handling business. And I want to say, like, I feel like this is a fight that I think Barboza can win, but I don't know.
Right.
Like you said, no easy fights at lightweight. Like I want to pick Barboza, but I don't feel fully confident in that pick, to be honest.
Yeah, I haven't thought about, like, stylistically. Like, Hooker is not the aggressive type that, like, the aggressive wrestler type that Barboza has been recently just been thrown at. Like, he's much more, like, he's obviously like a great counterpuncher, and he can, you know, force you to make a mistake and leave you open for the right hand. But, like, I'm trying to think back, because I feel like there was a time where, like, we saw Dan Hooker struggle with leg kicks, and it wasn't during his run at, like, lightweight. And maybe I can find it in my notes somewhere. But, like, I'm hopeful because both Khabib and Kevin Lee hit pretty damn hard. Like, they're not knockout artists in the same vein as Dan Hooker, but I don't think, like, one punch is going to fade Barboza. Because he fought in both those fights. Like, he hurt Kevin Lee, like, 3 rounds into his ass whooping. Mm. And he was still swinging in the 3rd round when he came down to Khabib Nurmagomedov. I'm just worried that those fights just, you know, they zapped what was left of his prime.
Yeah, those are the kind of, like you said, that'll beat a couple years off your career. Like, but we'll see. I like that fight though. I like that Hooker's getting a name, and if you're gonna prove yourself against anybody, that's a legit name to have on your resume if you can pull that off. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But best of luck to both of them. It's not an easy fight going either way. Like I don't think if you're Hooker, I don't think you can look at Barboza as like, oh, he was once that guy and now he's kind of fading. Like he's still dangerous. He's still, you know, there are no easy outings. And when you get knocked off the lightweight ladder, it's a long fall back down because 30 million people are going to climb over you.
Right.
So
there's a Fox card, by the way, which is awesome because that fight deserves to be seen by everybody. So
Fox card also, so it'll be 4 fights.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Get out nice and early for December 15th, so you can go play in the snow or something.
Yeah. So that'll be awesome. Before we move over to UFC, I'll give quick mention to the One Championship card because I did get a chance to watch some of this while I was at work. Shout out to One Championship and their app. It's pretty awesome. So One Championship Beyond the Horizon. This was headlined by Jingnan Zhang and Samara Santos Cunha. This was strawweight, correct? I want to say.
Yeah. Wait, what was her name?
Which one?
The challenger.
Samara Santos Cunha.
Okay. Because I heard the last one. I didn't see the name in front of me when I was on Topology.
Yep, so this was a strawweight title fight. Zhang hits really hard for somebody her size. But she is pretty sturdy, but like she hits really hard for a strawweight. This fight ended. Some people thought it was because at one point there was she did like a spinning back kick, and I don't know if that was what caused the damage or the ending strike, which was something I don't think we see often. She threw a standing hammer fist, and just like kind of cracked Samara, and she just kind of fell back, and it was actually kind of scary because when she fell, she didn't get up for a while. Like it looked really bad, like something was wrong with her. But as far as I know, I think she's okay. But it was a really good performance from Zhang, and the storyline from this fight is Angela Lee will be coming up to fight her. I guess in that'll be like a one championship super fight kind of deal. I'm
watching the ending right now, and and the ref calls the fight, and Sean immediately goes down and tries to like, I think she's like trying to get her mouthpiece out and everything, and like the ref
she was like calling to the ref, like, because it looked like something was just wrong, like,
right,
yeah. So good sportsmanship on her, because she could have went in and landed another shot, and she didn't need to. Like, she landed that hammer fist and just kind of let it go. But Angela Lee coming up to fight Zhang, that's gonna be a tough fight.
That's a good fight.
It's a good. Zhang is crazy strong. She hits really hard. That's gonna be a tough one for Lee. That's just gonna be a really tough fight. But I'm not mad at the matchmaking. That looks potential fight of the night written all over it.
I like that's probably also the first time Angela Lee's gonna fight somebody who's her size.
Right.
I am 100% convinced she's the only person in the one who's allowed to cut weight.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for that fight, which will be happening pretty soon, I think. This is going to be a quick turnaround for John.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that fight's supposed to happen still like this year.
Oh, well, I was seeing like March.
Or is it March? I thought it was this year. I could be wrong.
They still got dates to fill this year. It could happen.
Either way, keep an eye out on that one. Co-main event was Amir Khan and Anario Benario. Amir Khan has just been wrecking shop lately. I figured this fight would be pretty violent, and it was pretty good. I don't remember it in much of detail because I was watching this card while I was at work, so I couldn't catch everything. But Khan looked good, ended up winning via rear naked choke. He's had a nice little streak going as of late. There were a couple kickboxing fights on this card, but I don't remember anybody's names, but they were pretty fun from what I saw. And the last fight I'll mention, Edward Kelly and Christian Lee. Christian Lee had a really good performance, and unfortunately it was null and void because he landed a suplex, which I did not know was illegal in one, apparently. So he slammed Edward Kelly like on his head and just grounded and pounded him. It was weird because I was watching the fight while it was muted. I even called my coworker over. I was like, "Yo, watch this KO. This is vicious." And like Lee slams him, and he, landing ground and pound. And I thought he won. And then you see the ref walk over and talk to him, and it's like, "Oh, that's not a victorious talk. It looks like something bad happened."
Right.
And then I found out, yeah, he got disqualified, so the win went to Edward Kelly. But Lee was definitely winning that fight. But
other bit of news that I completely forgot about until we started talking about one. So we know that the boxer, the dude who beat Sorung Visai, the dude who beat Chocolatito Gonzalez, he's gonna be fighting in ONE FC. Like when was it? Soon. It's gonna be in the card that Shinya Aoki is gonna fight Ev Ting for the in a title eliminator for October 6th. Also on that card, as you mentioned a couple weeks ago, Andy Sauer versus Anthony Njokuani. But also on that card, we have Tenshin Nasukawa's 15-year-old sister having a kickboxing fight with Rudzma Abubakar.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, that's something to look out for if you're into one. Hey. Oh, wow, that's a really good card.
15.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You remember what's her name? God, Erika Nasu. It was not Nasukawa. It was Erika Nakamura. She was like her whole gimmick was that she was like the high school kickboxer. She fought in the shoeboxing tournament and beat. I think she beat Reina. I could be wrong.
It's got to be weird just looking across, like, the cage or the ring, and your opponent's 15, but they, like, give you that work. Like,
Kamimura. Yeah, no, that's a good feeling. Let's see. She beat Sei Ham.
Man.
And Reina. In an exhibition match.
That's exhibition, but still, like, that's... Wow. I don't... 15-year-old just... God. What was I doing at 15? I was playing football. I don't know what I was doing at 15. I was not doing anything that great, though.
You weren't fighting adults.
Not at all. Not at all. So, yeah, shout out to her. That's awesome. You get to be in front of, like, all those people. I don't know. I feel like at a 15-year-old, that might be kind of fun, though.
Yeah. Dude, at 15, you're invincible. Like,
yeah, you're not really thinking about, like, the pressure, and, like, you're probably just having a blast. Hey, man, go. And you're getting paid, too. Yeah, go get your money. Go put hands and limbs and knees on people.
Right.
Go have fun out there. But, yeah, man, one championship was a pretty awesome card from the bits and pieces that I got a chance to see. I don't think either one of us got a chance, but just in quick boxing news, Sean Porter beat Danny Garcia via unanimous decision last night. I don't think either of us really got it. I caught the tail. Oh, actually, you know what? I lied. By the time I turned to the fight, they were literally reading the scorecard, so I missed the whole fight. Amir Khan fought, is it Vargas? I think was the guy's name.
Yeah, Samuel Vargas, I think.
Yep. He won, I think, via decision, I want to say. Another fight I did not get a chance to catch it all. Heard both of them got dropped. Yeah, I can't comment too much on that fight because I didn't really get a chance to see it. But for anybody who's interested, Amir Khan won. And quick fun fact, yesterday, all across combat sports, 3 people with the name Amir Khan won fights. So, there's that. Amir
Truly
Khan
a magical day.
Right. I think it was Amir Khan in boxing. Of course, Amir Khan won, and there was a guy on the ACB card. His first name is Amir Khan, and he won. So apparently, there's some magic in that name somehow.
Makwan Amir Khan was MIA.
Right. he got him next time. But that was one championship, and all the other little happenings that happened this weekend. So we'll just get to it, man. UFC 228 went down yesterday in Dallas, Texas, headlined by Darren Till and Tyron Woodley. And we'll just run this from the top. Well, I guess before we get started, do we want to talk about the fight that never was?
Yeah. So if you all watched the damn card, Valentina Shevchenko. Nico Montano did not end up happening. The day of weigh-ins, or the morning of weigh-ins, Nico Montano was rushed to the hospital. I believe her team came out with a statement saying that she was on the brink of like a kidney failure, something along those lines.
Yeah, I saw somebody posted a text message. They were saying they were keeping track of like her kidney function.
Yeah, Montano came out and said something along the lines of if she hadn't gone to the hospital, she might have like died. So there's that. The UFC stripped her of her title, and Dana White is planning on making Valentina Shevchenko versus TBD for the flyweight title sometime in the future. I'm assuming it's going to be Joanna Jędrzejczyk. That's the only logical opponent I can see for Shevchenko at the moment, since the flyweight's still working itself out. And I don't think Dana White would be too keen on putting like a Sajara Eubanks in there, considering she also missed weight in her title fight attempt. So I think that's probably what's in the works. Joey actually had a great idea that they should just put Shevchenko versus Jędrzejczyk on that Cyborg Nunes card, and Rose Namajunas next defense on the card too. He's making an all women's card.
Hey, I'm there for it.
This idea I pitched back when they had like Ronda Rousey. It was like going to be no matter who she put her up against, it was going to be like a guaranteed million buy. I was like, just put all of the women's titles on the line.
Right.
But like the perfect opportunity, everything's lining up. You can go out on try to get some of those fans of Cyborg to like some of these other women. And to her credit, Cyborg actually kind of promotes a lot of these other women. She was tweeting last night about like Amanda Serrano's boxing match. She was tweeting about Valentina Shevchenko. Wanted to see her fight. So.
I feel like women across all sports have been showing out this week.
Dude, it's a great weekend if you're a fan of women in sports. Like you had the U.S. Open. I can't remember her name. Like Osaka.
Yeah, she won at 20 years old. That's crazy.
Yeah, she beat arguably the greatest athlete of this of the 20th century in Serena Williams. WNBA women's finals are happening. It's today. Not for y'all. It's in the past, but there's gonna be a game today at 3:30. Mystics, Storm. First game was great. Seattle's super fun to watch. Brianna Stewart and Sue Bird are just incredible. And they're going to be going for their third title. So, Sue Bird will be going for her third title, and the Storm, not Brianna Stewart's going for her first.
And then we got all of the women fights on this card left something to talk about.
Right.
Yeah. So, but we'll start from the top, man. Tyron Woodley, Darren Till.
I think we don't give enough credit to how smart Tyron Woodley is, or maybe not us specifically, but like fans overall, because this kind of just shows that he's a lot more game plan oriented than we thought. Like it's not like he's out there just I'm waiting on my chance to counter. He's right. Actually putting thought into what he does, and this showed here.
I thought it was interesting because I was watching one of like little pre-fight shows, and they were showing the training that he was doing, and the guy he was training with was saying, like Dill, I call him Dill, Till is taller than you, so he was like, they were practicing like a 1-2 and then duck under and like kind of like get an underhook, which we saw him use an underhook, have Till up against the cage for a while. There were just other things in that training clip that I saw that showed that like Woodley seems like he's a student of the game. Like he's looking at every opponent, anybody who might be a threat to him or who he might see climbing up the ladder. He's studying you before you even get there.
Right.
Like, he's making sure he knows all of your strengths, all your weaknesses, all that good stuff. Yeah, man. There aren't many people I've seen like Woodley, regardless of how you might feel about his performances, just neutralize people so well. Like everybody looks good until they fight him, and then it's a different story. Like you could say that like literally about almost all of his title defenses. Like we watched Wonder Boy razzle and dazzle and put on all these great performances. Woodley shuts him down. We watched Damian Maia have just this resurgence at welterweight at 40 years old. Woodley shuts him down.
And I like to point out he did it with like a torn, bicep? Did he tear his bicep in that fight, or was it something else?
There was some kind of injury he had.
Yeah, and that has kept him out of competition since.
Right.
So like
just nullified him. Just whatever you're good at, it doesn't matter because I got something for it. And the one thing I was wondering about this fight, I picked Woodley to win just because I felt like he had more ways to win, and I like Darren Till's talent, but I don't know, but I was like, I wonder if
the talent's all there, but like we have not seen him put it together in ways that matter to be a champion.
That and like he has a solid body of work, but like your most notable win was against Cerrone, who and this is no slight to him, but size difference. Cerrone's not the same. He's still game. He's still talented, but he's not the same guy who was going on runs earlier in his career. So I look at the body of work and I'm like, I haven't seen enough to make me believe that you can go up to Woodley and just take this belt from him. And one thing I was wondering about this fight was if there's one criticism of Woodley or like a flaw that we've seen from him in the past, like sometimes when guys pressure him, he doesn't do so well. So like I wonder if Till can just pressure him, get aggressive, maybe land something, catch him with something. But it just didn't work. Like when Woodley came out being light and nimble on his feet, I knew something this was about to be a problem.
Yeah, he looked leaner than normal.
Yeah, he looked smaller. He looked like he dropped some of that muscle mass. Like he kind of leaned out a little bit.
Yeah, like one thing I wasn't expecting, like even if we did get like a more active, more aggressive Woodley, was him just throwing combinations. Like he's always struck me as like a one punch type of dude.
To me, my thought during this fight was like Woodley's being nimble, he's throwing combinations. I just felt like this was all a bait. Like he was waiting to land that right hand, but he didn't want it to look so obvious. So like, trying to think of some. We've seen other fighters like what their game plan is and they don't really hide it. I felt like he had that right hand on standby the entire fight, but he just needed the moment to.
He needed Till to throw something.
Yeah, when that's the other storyline about this fight. Like
Darren Till threw 3 punches,
and that was another reason. And I was talking with somebody about this on Twitter. And I was like I can't be fully in on Till because we've seen that in other fights. He's not a volume guy. Like he doesn't throw a ton. He's powerful when he does land, but he doesn't throw a ton. Like he's not razzling and dazzling combos out here.
Like he is a cutthroat Connor, in like the truest sense, where he'll throw the left hand, like he'll extend on the left hand when he throws it, and he'll back you up and he'll make you like hurt if you just sit there, but like he's not a counter puncher, which is like the most bizarre thing because like a lot of his game involves him like stepping back and hitting with the left hand, but like when Woodley, and we saw this with the Thompson fight, when Woodley would throw or when Thompson would throw, what was Till's best defense? He would literally just like jump like 6 feet back and just let Thompson circle off the cage. And then he did the same thing in the first round with Woodley. Woodley came out hella aggressive and Till just completely shut down. And he ends up throwing like 2 punches the entire round.
Yeah, I think, I'm pretty sure he had gotten caught off guard. Like I think he thought he was just going to be able to just kind of back him up. And Woodley wasn't really having any of that. Like he came out really aggressive. He had a nice little flurry in the beginning. Pushed him up against the cage, kind of roughed him up a bit. And like I said, by the end of the first round, Till only threw like 2 punches. And it just felt like a setup because in the second round, he got like slightly more active, which isn't saying a ton because he literally barely did anything in the first. But it was a setup because it was like, Woodley's just waiting for you to like overcommit or just catch you on good timing and it's over. And Till, I think he threw like a right hand. I don't even know if it fully landed, but like he was getting a little bit aggressive. It looked like he was about to turn it up. And as soon as he tried to close in, right hand cocks back, floors him. I mean, props to Till for surviving all the ground and pound that he ate because he hammer fist and elbows. Like it was looking bad. He was trying his best to survive out there, but
like
yeah.
it's it. So that was like a night of like weirds. Like you had the two of the biggest fight differentials, like punch strike differentials I think you've ever seen in him, like in the UFC. In two of these fights, you had the same weird submission from the back, like from backpack. In two fights,
Right.
you had a one punch women's strawweight KO, which almost never happens. Like it's just weird. And then you have Tyrone Woodley, who's just all of a sudden like a volume guy.
Right. He's winning by a volume guy and a BJJ black belt now after winning via Darce choke, and he just slipped his hand under there ever so calmly. I don't think Till really knew what was going on. I think he was still kind of out of it, man. He was just in survival mode, just trying to live to see another day. And Woodley just snuck that Darce in, and a couple seconds later, that was all she wrote.
Yeah, like it really feels like he took the wrong lessons from like the Wonder Boy fight, where Wonder Boy was the more active dude against the fence, but it didn't matter because Till thought he had the left hand in his back pocket for the entirety of the fight, where like he didn't have to counter and he didn't have to he didn't have to throw. He could just wait and feel him out, and eventually he'll land it. Like the lesson from that fight should have been, like, I either need to counter or I need to throw something, because I almost lost a fight. But he was like, no, his lesson was basically, I'll get him eventually.
Well, it did not did not turn out so well.
Like, I'm trying to think of a positive, and like the only ones I can think of is she'll stop the takedown.
He stopped the takedown. He showed some toughness and just being able to survive that onslaught for as long as he did.
And shouts to Woodley, because that was like some precise ass ground and pound. Like, Till wasn't doing a great job of like grabbing him or pushing him away, but like Woodley was still like bridging with his arms and like pushing Till's arms out the way to like get the ground and pound in there. He basically landed everything he threw.
Yeah, this was one of Woodley's best performances. Like, I have nothing bad to say about Woodley from this fight. Like, you can't really draw up a better picture. Like, he executed everything perfectly, and for any criticism that you gave him for the Wonder Boy fight or any of his past fights, like, you can't be mad at this. Like,
right, like he did everything he did everything all the critics wanted him to do. He threw, he knocked the guy down, he finished him, put him away inside 2 rounds. Like, no criticism whatsoever.
Yep. So, good luck to whoever has to fight him next.
Good luck to his single.
Oh yeah, that's dropping next week.
What was this? What's the song called?
I'll beat that ass or something like that.
Featuring Wiz Khalifa.
Hey, at least he got a feature.
Wiz Khalifa do a feature everybody though. Like if you got a name, Wiz Khalifa do a feature with you. Like Wiz Khalifa got 2 features with John Cena. Like, come on.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna hold my breath on that one, but
I hope it charts. just because the Wiz feature.
Lofty ambitions. I wonder if he's got a full album coming, or is it just gonna be a single?
This is a very good question. I want to know what he's rapping about.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the title of that song is pretty cut and dry, and I mean, you can't argue with him because he really does it for a living. So
this is the most This is the most valid single from an athlete since Roy Jones dropped. You can't stop me.
Right. So, yeah, man, there's not a ton to dissect in this Woodley fight. Like he just really handled business, and I hope the Covington fight is next because I want to see Covington get starched.
I have a question for you. Where do you think Till should go next? Should he go up to middleweight?
I think he should. Like, I think if you go up to middleweight, well, I don't know how hard his weight cut was because he came in at a good weight, didn't he? Was he 169?
He was 169, but like that felt more like out of spite than like out of like, oh, this was easy. I'm gonna come down to 160. I think he just wanted to make 169 so he could flip the audience off like he did.
Yeah. I feel like he should go up to middleweight because, like, we're starting to see this more, man. Guys are realizing it's not worth cutting all this weight to have these advantages when you're just depleting your body. So now you can spend your camp really just improving as a fighter instead of worrying about the weight cut the entire time. And, I mean, you look at the top of middleweight, there are some good fighters there, but a lot of these guys are breaking down. Like, a lot of these guys are getting older, you know.
I mean, like Chris Weidman and Luke Rockhold and Yoel Romero, for whatever reason, holding on to their runs at middleweight. Like, these are guys who should be fighting at 205.
Yeah. So it's like, he's still young. This is the perfect time to go to middleweight. Like, you're a young dude. You still, you know, obviously really talented. You go up to middleweight, you'll probably feel a ton better not having to
punch harder.
Right. And I'm pretty sure, like, his power will translate up there. His skill set will translate up there. You know, like I said, it's we call it the tough dad division for a reason. You'll be the young guy in the tough dad division.
I mean, he is a dad, but as Stokes pointed out, he doesn't really care about his kids.
Yeah, man, just go to middleweight. I'm pretty sure you can pluck off some old heads up there.
Dude, you cut less weight, you eat more, you're forced to spend time with your children.
It's a win-win.
Exactly.
It's a win. Like, I don't like, and you've said this before. I mean, kind of different, but same concept. Like, we watched Anthony Smith go up to 205 and became like a top 5 205er within like the span of like a week.
Right. Like, you can't tell me Darren Till can't beat Derek Brunson.
Right. Like, go up to middleweight, get like 2 wins, and you'll probably get a title shot like right after. I mean, because the UFC loves you, so you know they're going to be foaming at the mouth if they can give you a title shot that you deserve. So,
especially Bisping's old title.
Yeah.
And especially if Robert Whittaker still has it.
Yeah. So
you got your Britain versus Australia fight right there. It's like tough.
So,
it's like Tough Nations 2 or 3 or whatever.
I feel like it's a win-win. It's a win-win to go up to middleweight. That's definitely where I think he should go.
I mean, like the current 2 top middleweights are former welterweights who decided they had enough cutting weight, or in Gastelum's case, just decided that he's just going to eat whatever the fuck he feels like. So, yeah, like, why not?
Hey, man, it's like I said. I hope more fighters just. We don't need to see the cut the weight, man. If you're talented, your talent will shine through.
Right.
It'll carry you. As long as you're out here working hard, you're doing what you're supposed to do. I don't think the weight is gonna make that much of a difference. But
Gastelum hasn't even improved since he was at welterweight. He's still like
still out here sleeping, dude. It's crazy to me. He literally almost knocked out Chris Weidman. If that fight would have lasted like 30 more seconds, he probably would have knocked Chris Weidman out. That's crazy. But yeah, man, I'm still, you know, we'll see what happens with Darren Till. I hope he does go to middleweight. I think that would be a good look for him. I'm hoping Woodley. I hope Woodley Covington happens. Like I said, I want to see Covington get started, and I think Woodley's the perfect guy to do it. So
I think the media from that fight will just completely.
Oh, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be bad.
Like, if we think Wilder Fury is gonna be bad, like,
Yeah, this is
I just wanted to kill the sport. Like, I want to know what it takes for this sport.
Yeah, the trash talk in that fight, not even between Woodley and Covington. I'm just thinking of like the social media between just fans. That's gonna be unruly. That is
just word to Woodley, just start, get those blocked words list ready.
Yeah. Get that mute button. Have it make your mute game strong because you gonna need it. But shout outs to Woodley, man. Just amazing performance. It was a great way to cap off this card because this card was just so good from top to bottom, and that was just it was like the perfect send off.
Right.
And I guess we'll just go on to the co-main event since we lost Shevchenko and Montano. The co-main event was Jessica Andrade and Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
I will say I was surprised that they made this the co-main event, but I'm really happy they did because it deserved like whatever spotlight / bit of shine that you get with co-main event status, especially on pay-per-view. So, and props to Andrade for milking that for all it's worth.
Man, this fight made me extremely happy and then like extremely sad at the same time. Because I really like Karolina, and
yeah, she seems really nice.
Right, she seems like a really nice person, and I didn't want to see her get hurt like that. But like watching Andrade just do what Andrade does it's always fun and just amazing to watch. Straight from jump, no time wasted. Andrade comes out throwing bombs. It almost looked like Karolina was about to be done within like the first 30 seconds, but she survived the beginning barrage. She got off a little bit of her own offense.
Dude, when she would punch and move, she was clipping Andrade pretty hard.
Yeah, she caught her a few good times. She was working the clinch, which she's known for. She caught Andrade with a nice little combination that she landed. But my fear in this fight, and we all saw it unfold in real time, Karolina is a just one of those like master technicians, but Andrade is just like she just hits with like the force of like a mythical being. Like it's just you're not gonna survive one of those onslaughts. And Karolina, for all the the good moments she had, it just felt like a matter of time because she would get into these little mini slugfests, and it's like I get it, you're a great technician, but if you get into a brawl with her and you just stay in the pocket a second too long, it's not gonna end well. And I almost felt like she was doing good. Like I said, she landed a nice little combination that somewhat looked like it startled Andrade, but I still think she herself was not all the way there. Like she was just kind of in fight or flight mode, because in the ending flurry, she kind of just ducks down, but she's not like looking at what's happening. Like she kind of like
she has her eyes closed.
Yeah, like her face is literally looking down at the ground. She's just throwing, just trying to just do something.
It's pretty clear at that point that she's just mentally exhausted.
Right. And it's only been like 1 minute into the fight, and Andrade has just been unloading all kinds of just everything, just throwing the kitchen sink at her. She's just trying to stay above water, and her head ducks down. She's not looking. Her head comes back up. It meets Andrade's fist, and she just
her head snapped like neck break snap. Just Andrade also was following up with a left hook, but it kind of like I want to say she didn't put full force on it, like, and it just kind of like patters against the side of Karolina's head, and you can see her neck snap back the other way.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
One of the most brutal knockout punches you'll ever see.
Like this fight was like a bad matchup for Karolina from like the jump, because she's a snowball fighter. Like her whole thing is, I'm going to set the pace of the offense, and I'm eventually I'm gonna work through all my attacks, and I'll eventually find something that works, and I'll keep going back to it. So if she can't set the pace, like she's kind of just shit out of luck, and no, you're not gonna get unless you are Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and you have just a mastery of just all phases of striking where you can fight going forward and backward and in the clinch and at range and on the inside, like you're just not going to be able to set the pace against Andrade because very few women in this division hit hard enough for her to just get knocked off her game. And we saw Kovacevic crack her a few times with some really good stuff as Andrade was coming in, and Andrade just kept going.
And that's the scary part is and we saw it in some of her other fights. Like she can keep this pace. Like her cardio still it holds up. So it's like she's fighting a mix of I hit hard like a prime Vanderlei, but I have the pace of a Nate Diaz.
She fights like John Lineker. She's 115 John Lineker. It's not like she gets called I think there's a lot. I think there's a little bit more to her tactically than people give her credit for. She forces these exchanges for a reason. She's very good at keeping herself above her feet and being able to crack. Being able to take the punch basically. There's a lot more to it than she just goes out there and swings, but she has perfect weight transfer on her punches. That's why she's able to do it for 15, 25 minutes at a time and not be tired, despite the fact that she is throwing bombs.
Right.
So, there's more to Andrade than just straight up brawler, Chris Lieben style, I guess. But, I'm not sure Rose can beat her.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that fight goes because it's just boy, Rose is gonna have to have some really good footwork and stay on that pedal and just not you you can't engage in any firefight. You can't even entertain it.
Well, when it comes to that distance, you just have to grab her, and I'm not sure that's what Rose wants to do, because that's what Joanna did. Whenever it would get to a situation where Andrade would get on the inside, she would either invite Andrade into the wrestling phase, or she would just grab a clinch and just disengage. And I don't think Rose has that in her arsenal. She's a fantastic range striker. She's great at exploding inside on and coming in on distance. That's how she knocked out Joanna. But if Andrade eventually gets on the inside, what are Rose's options?
Yeah, because we've seen Andrade. That Claudia fight showed a lot in terms of she's crazy strong. She will dump you on your head,
Dude, pound for pound, she might be the strongest fighter in MMA, relative to her competition.
She's a tank. And yeah, like you said, it's scary because it's not just raw. It looks that way. It's not just raw, just crazy talent where she's just winging everything, and it's chaos, but it's still a bit controlled. She definitely knows what she's doing, but it's just scary because she never stops. She's always in your face 100% of the time, and it's if you don't have a certain skill set to defend against that, I can't say it's gonna be a long night. It's gonna be a short night because she's gonna kill you and get you out of there.
I want to say it's the second or third time she stopped somebody with strikes in the UFC. I could be wrong.
Man,
because it was Jessica Penne. Let's see, Jessica Penne. She guillotined Larissa Pacheco. So yeah, this is only the second time she stopped somebody with strikes in the UFC, which is crazy to me because everything she throws looks like it hurts.
Incredibly. Like, it looks like you should die from almost every punch.
Right.
But Jesus Christ. Yeah, Jessica Andrade. I hope she gets that title shot. I know, and we'll get to Suarez later. No, I think Andrade deserves that title shot.
I mean, dude, like, look at her run. It's Claudia Gadel, Tisha Torres, Karolina Kovacevic. That's 3 top 5 fighters.
Right. That she's beaten like dominant fashion.
Like, yeah, one-sided dominant. By the end of the fight, the other woman looks like she's been through hell fashion.
Right. So, yeah, Andrade keep just going out here and just killing people, but I just want to give Carolina a hug. Like, when her head snapped back and she was just laying there, I felt so bad. Just like, is she all right, man? Like, I didn't want. I wanted to see that, but like I didn't want to see that. Like, you know. Ugh. But Andrade's gonna Andrade, man.
I hope the UFC does do that 3 women's title fight card, and we get Andrade Namajunas on that card because they both deserve that audience.
And those fights will deliver. Like, I have no doubt that.
Oh, absolutely! I can't imagine like Rose Andrade being any type of dull.
Yeah, there's not gonna be a staring contest. They're throwing. Somebody's catching hands and feet, and it's gonna be violent. But yeah, man, Jessica Andrade, amazing performance. Just definitely a candidate up there somewhere. I ain't gonna put it at the top, but KO of the year, she's up there somewhere. She delivered a sleepage that's gonna be on a lot of highlight reels. So,
dude, if she gets that title fight before the end of the year, she might be fighter of the year.
Especially if she sleeps it.
Mm-hmm.
If she sleeps Rose, man. But we'll see how that goes. I hope she gets that title shot, but we'll see what happens. But shout out to Andrade, man. That was an amazing performance. From one amazing performance to another amazing finish. Zabit Magomed Sharipov took on Brandon Davis. First, shout out to Brandon Davis just for stepping up and taking this fight on short notice. We already lost the co-main event. It would have really sucked had we lost this fight also. So I'm glad he did step up and take this fight. And I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, he kept the first round slightly competitive. For a lot of the first half of the first round, Zabit was kind of not doing a whole bunch. He was really like being patient on the outside. Davis was definitely like looking to engage more. And then Zabit started to get loose toward the latter half of the first round. He caught Davis with a nice counter against nice little duck under, and then he came up with a left and kind of stung him with that. Started to get just a bit more loose, like he was having a little bit more fun at the end of the first round. But then he just shows how versatile he is, and he goes to the grappling, and he just has so much in his arsenal that it's almost not fair. Like, there's just so much that he can do. Like, you see his striking and just how creative it is, but you also got to worry about, you know, him getting against you in the fence and taking you down, him doing that little judo sweep thing that he does, that Davis did manage to, he got away from it, I think, the first time. He shrugged it off. But second time he got caught with it, Zabit landed it perfectly. And then, like, once he gets on the ground, like, he's so long and rangy. Dude can just catch you with anything. And somehow, for the second time this night, the fight ended with a knee bar from the back, which is just it's hard to describe unless you saw it. But
did you see how far through on the other leg, not the one that he was knee barring, that he got his grapevine through? Because he was like his hip was all the way on his Well, not his hip. Like the crook of his knee was all the way through, like on his crook of the knee. So he was literally just getting maximum torque on Brandon Davis.
Yeah, it was.
Like, how weird is it? Like, do you think Magomed Sharapov just saw that on like the video in the back and like,
positive?
I can totally do it better.
I'm positive because there's no way that was in your game plan. Like like he was sitting in the back warming up. He happened to like look off to the left and saw like the end of the Aljamain fight, and he was like, "Oh no, I can do that. Like I got this."
Just like he's so slick. I feel like he shouldn't be because he's a 6'1", 145 pounder. And like you feel like he should be like those tall dudes you played like basketball with, who are like 6'4", but like every time they walk, they look like they're gonna trip over their own feet.
Right. Like he should be extremely uncoordinated.
Exactly.
And it's like I can't even be mad at Brandon Davis because it's like, but nobody. You're not looking for that. Like I'm pretty sure in all of your training camp sessions, nobody prepared you that this dude is just gonna reach under your leg and just yank your knee off. Like, I mean, you train for knee bars, but they're not in that, like, just the position that he pulled it off in. Like, you don't see that often. Like, that's
right. Like if I see somebody reach down for my leg, I'm thinking, oh, he's trying to break my posture on my tripod.
Right. He's trying to get me to fall in some kind of way so he can advance position or sweep or just something else like that. Like, he's not trying to just yank my knee.
Yeah, this is not a submission position. And then all of a sudden your knees in front of your face.
Right. Like literally in front of your like his knee was like at his chin. Like that's oh man. That was wild. Yeah, man. Zabit is just a really really talented.
Like if I could, like if there's any negatives, like I'm kind of curious. He was supposed to fight Yair Rodriguez, another really tall, long featherweight, but who was mostly just like kick centered. Like he's not going to come out there and box with you. And Davis is like the complete opposite of that, where he's going to come out there and box and string punches together anyway. So and like I feel like Zabit was a little uncomfortable with Davis doing that. I'm not sure that's because he wasn't exactly sure what to expect. I don't know how much time his team put into like training him specifically for Davis after they got the switch, or even reviewing film or anything like that. But it felt like he like was uncomfortable with the long dude punching at him, and that's like the only criticism I have.
Yeah, he wasn't as. It's hard to say he wasn't dominant because this fight wasn't
competitive.
It wasn't that close. But it wasn't like the wipeout. I think that
people were expecting.
A lot of us, me included. I didn't think this fight would be remotely close. I thought he was just gonna school him. But yeah, you're right. There were like the moments where he was backed against the cage. Like even though he was kind of moving and ducking his head out the way, like there were certain moments where it was like, I wonder if you were fighting like a top 5 guy and they had you in this position, would you be able to pull off the same stunt?
Right.
Like, would this work so well? And I'm really intrigued if they do the Mendes fight.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's a good one because I believe that Mendes could give him some problems. Mendes does not shy away. I think Mendes would be in his face. Obviously, he's a beat. Rangy, lanky, but Mendes, short and stocky, but just crazy powerful, really athletic, and a really good wrestler also. So I think that's a really intriguing matchup, and I hope they do actually do that because
that face-off will be hilarious.
You got Abe Lincoln looking down at like the wrestling jock,
like a fire hydrant.
Right. That would be so weird. But I like that fight a lot though. I hope they make that because Mendez looked like he has not lost a step since his suspension. He looks pretty much like the same guy we've seen this whole time. Zabit has obviously just been out here doing Zabit things. And if nobody else wants to fight Zabit, why not just let the Mendez fight happen? We'll see if Zabit is really ready for that top flight competition. And for Mendez, if he wins, you sent like one of the hottest prospects in the sport. You sent them back down the ladder, which is a really solid win. So I hope they do that. I think that's a good matchup. But Zabit, really good performance, amazing finish. And we'll get back to knee bars when we get to the prelims. But yeah, shout out to Zabit. But like I said, shout out to Brandon Davis too, just for coming in on such short notice. That's not an easy fight to take, and he did what he could. He did what he could.
Sometimes you just gotta take the fight, bro.
Yeah,
that's how you stay in business.
All right.
Brandon Davis wasn't brought in to be a contender. He was brought in because Dana White knew you can count on him to fill dates when needed. So
keep your paychecks flowing.
Exactly.
Hopefully. All right, this next fight, and this is like the only fight on the card where I was kind of like,
No, it was a bad fight. Like I'm a Jimmy Rivera fan, and this was a bad fight, but it's not Jimmy Rivera's fault, so I don't care.
Yeah, it was really hard to watch this because like on paper, it's like, man, this should be great. Like, but you just watched it unfold, and it was just,
Like, this is what kind of, I'm not gonna, this is kind of what I expected, because Dotson 1 has looked less powerful recently. He's just getting older. Like, there's no way around it. And he's a pure counterpuncher, and Jimmy Rivera is an aggressive pure counterpuncher who, like, waits till you punch so he can throw at the exact same time, and since he has fast hands, he'll crack you.
Right.
So we got a lot of, like, staring
and baiting and why don't you throw? No, why don't you throw? But I mean, I'll give Rivera props, like especially towards the second and third. Like it looked like he was at least trying, like he was the one who was pushing the pace, who was at least trying to commit to some action, like just trying to make something happen.
I mean, he was working the mud kicks. He would throw that right hand when he felt like he was at a certain, like a good range to actually tag down Dotson, because Dotson is quick as shit and just was able to get out of range a lot. I don't know. Hey,
yeah, not Dotson fights like I feel like Dotson fights like he has like a longer reach than he does, because he fights from the outside, but it's like you have like little T-Rex arms. Like you're not gonna do a whole.
Well, he fights from the outside because he can explode and jump 6 feet before most people can blink. So like he can throw that power hand and scare you off of him. He fights a lot like Tyron Woodley, except he doesn't have like the wrestling game or the He doesn't have that switch where he can fight like coming forward. Like he is a pure out fighter, strictly because he's an amazing athlete and he has had one punch power.
I wonder with him, because I want to believe, this is me being the optimist. I still feel like he could be a solid like contend. I wonder if like he just needs like a camp change or something. Because he's been off just for a while. Like, it just seems like there's something just hasn't been the same for him. Like, I don't know when it started, but it just, I don't know. It seems like his last few fights have just been the same game plan, and it just hasn't worked.
I mean, but this is like been his game plan for his entire career. This is the same like game plan that, he had the DJ fights. The Makovsky fight, the Moraga fight, the Montague fight. Like, it's a lot of him waiting, and when the other guy finally either lets his guard down or steps forward, he'll crack and then run away. It's what cost him the Pat Runez fight, all the way back in like 2009 when he was still on the regional scene. Like, I remember that fight. He beat the crap out of Runez for like 2 rounds, and then spent the rest of the fight just running away. Like, and that's kind of just been my whole mental image of Dotson as a fighter. I'm like, okay, he can do incredible stuff, but he's a one-handed fighter. Like, he doesn't use his left hand for anything except feigning.
This fight is what it is. I don't have much to.
I will say, if you're a bantamweight, this is probably not the performance you want to have because, Aljamain Sterling showed out on this card. Friggin', what's his name? Bantamweight. You like, it is a division where guys are showing out. Marlon Moraes is out here showing out. John Lineker is out here showing out. Pedro Munoz is out here just grabbing guillotines and beating the crap out of people.
Yeah. Right. It's like not as deep as lightweight, but the same concept as to where, like, there are a lot of good guys in this division from top to bottom. So if you're not standing out,
right. Like, and that's the thing. Like, they're out here impressing. It's not like welterweight where, like, Darren Till's grabbing split decisions over Wonder Boy and Kobe Covington's having, like, these slap fest fights with RDA, and Usman's out here, 30% himself way to wins. These dudes are out here for blood. Like, Petr Yan is going to do terrible, awful things to whoever he fights next.
Yeah, man. So like, if you're not,
Cody Sandhagen tore his own arm off to beat Yuri Alcantara.
Right. Like, this isn't like when bantamweight first started, where it was like kind of just top heavy, and then it kind of like faded off. Like, no, it's pretty stacked now. Like
Brian Bowles versus Takeya Mitsugaki is not going to get you into the top 5 anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Those days are over. So yeah, if you're not impressing, you might get left behind. But props to Jimmy Rivera. He did what he had to do to get the W. Wasn't the most eye-pleasing fight, but what's one meh fight out of a whole card that was pretty awesome.
Exactly.
So I won't spend a ton of time just complaining about that one, but it is what it is. But
that was coughing.
Back to awesomeness, back to violence, back to death. Abdul Razak, Al Hassan, and Nico Price. There was no other way this fight was going to end except somebody just getting slept, and that's what happened. Like, straight out the gate, they were throwing. Nico landed, I think, a really nice left to start the fight. They just kind of threw bombs, and Hassan
just that little bit tighter.
Yep, it's one of those, man. I landed just a little bit quicker, a little bit tighter. There's something about a standing KO that's kind of scary. Like, he was just, Nico was like out against the fence and just kind of fell, and it's one of those. Just, I hope he's okay. But yeah, Abdul got that done in 43 seconds.
This is his he is 10-1, and this is his 10th first round knockout.
Like, dude throws with just ill intention every time. But it's fun to watch, man. He's out here he's taking souls left and right. I'm glad that in welterweight, like, we're getting a couple of new faces are slowly starting to trickle in here.
I'm happy the new faces are fun.
Right.
Because the current faces are not.
Like, it was almost seemed at one point welterweight was gonna be like junior middleweight, like the young tough dads. Maybe not the 40-year-old dads, but like that 30-year-old like single father.
Like the dude who had a kid when he was like 17.
Right. Like, I felt like we were on track to do that. But some of these young guys, they've been out here showing out. So, yeah, man, Al Hassan has thrown his name in that bunch. Like you said, 10 first-round finishes, just impressive and violent knockouts. I'm not sure how far he can go up the ladder. But, hey, man, if you can hit that hard, you're always just one punch away from winning a fight.
You're always welcome on my fight card.
Yeah. And that was a good way to kick off the main card. I was actually, because if you look at just in terms of, I guess for lack of a better term, like star power, there were other fights I think that could have took this main card slot. I think.
I mean, this fight was originally supposed to be Tatiana Suarez versus Carla Esparza on the main card, and then I guess they got a bunch of backlash for putting like 3 women's fights on the main card.
I don't know why, because that would have set off this card too.
Yeah, like the original for this card was Woodley Till, Shevchenko Montano, Magomed Sharipov, Rodriguez, Suarez Esparza, and Andrade Kovacevic.
That kind of hurts, actually. You know what? They should have switched it, because if you would have put Suarez on the main card, that's even more like of a storyline, because you see Andrade kill Carolina, and we'll get to what Suarez did in a minute. So you put 2, well, I'm going to say new faces, quote unquote. Maybe
one
for people
new face and like this other face who is just in the past year has been really putting her stamp on I'm still here. So like there's a storyline there, and
that would have been awesome. But I guess for Al Hassan though, real quick before we move on, just really good performance. He kicked off the main card with just a bomb of a KO, and
I'm gonna bring it up every time the Nico Price fights, but shouts to Nico Price for also bringing the violence. There's a man who KO'd another man off his back by putting his head in the crook of his foot and then hammer fisting it. So Nico Price,
so he just went limp.
Exactly. So Nico Price will always have a fan in me. So this fight was not going to end with one of them unconscious.
There was no other way. I was kind of rooting for Nico, but like I couldn't even be mad at Hassan. Like that was just good violence. It was just nice, wholesome, wholesome violence.
Like the alternative is this fight went 3 rounds and these poor men just literally just beat each other into early retirement. So I'm happy this is the way it went.
Yeah, they got it out the way early. Be interested to see who they match Hassan up with next.
There's plenty of violent dudes in the middle of the division for him to fight next. So they got these 4-1 in the UFC. Like I said before, all first round stoppages and wins. Only loss is to Amari Akhmedov, who I don't even think is in the UFC anymore. Is he? No, he still is. Oh, wow. I could have sworn I saw him in like an ACB or Fight Night Global lineup once. Since then, I don't know. I guess you can give him somebody at the bottom of the top 15, but is Gunnar Nelson doing anything?
God, no. Who knows where is Gunnar Nelson? What is he? Is he still a person? Like, where is he?
He had a knee injury back in May or April, and I guess he's still nursing that. The winner of Perry Cerrone. I like that one.
Where's I don't know. I don't know if anybody would like this. Didn't Sire win his last fight?
Barboza? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd be totally down for that.
Yeah, throw them together. Those are two that middle of the division kind of guys who
will just
not quite tight, but they'll kill each other.
Yeah. If you want 2 men to fucking just murder one another, that's perfect.
Yeah. Do Abdul Sire. I like that fight. And then if he beats Sire, give him one of those top 15 fights. But we'll see. Either way, man, props to both men just for kicking off the card, just continuing the trend of just violence that was this card. Like, all of these fights were just so brutal in one way or another. So shout outs to Abdul.
Shout outs to Price for sacrificing himself like that. Very brave.
Somebody had to do it. But all right, man, this next fight that headlined the prelims on FX.
You gotta put that word in quotes. Fight.
Oh, yeah.
So Carlos Esparza didn't land a single strike over 15 minutes.
Tatiana Suarez and Carla Esparza. So before this fight, so I've written off Esparza like her last like 3 fights, and then she proved me wrong. And then I wanted to give her a chance in this fight just because she's been proving me wrong. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is the one I can go to bat for you for. And yeah.
She was like the second biggest like underdog on this card, I want to say. Like there was some like I think originally it was like Valentina Shevchenko. I think that's who I'm thinking of. Was like the biggest Nico Montano was the biggest underdog. I'm not sure where Brandon Davis was, but like I feel like Carlos Esparza was the biggest underdog on the card.
It was for good reason. Suarez, man. Like there are certain people you watch, like any fighter in the UFC, whether you're the top of the heap or you're the guy who they just stash away on prelims. Everybody's strong to some degree. You know, you got to be somewhat strong to just fight at this level, whether you're top of the division or if you're the bottom guy possibly on the way out the door. But then there are some people who just have like a different kind of strength. Like it almost seems it's like superhero, like unnatural, like how did you get this strong kind of strength? And Suarez is one of those people, and that's
the strength that you only get from a lifetime of wrestling.
Yeah. Like she was tossing Esparza around like a little kid. Like when you're like, I don't know if you have like siblings that were really younger with you, but like my little brothers, I'm like considerably older than. So you know when like they're like 7, you just kind of like literally just pick them up and throw them. Like, that's what Suarez was, just kind of bullying Esparza, like from gate. She comes out, she does a little bit of striking, but we all know what's going on. Like she's striking just to set up the takedown, and she pushes Esparza against the fence and just arm drags her down. Like it was like a bully move. Like I'm running your pockets, you can't do anything. Like, pony up. Like, take everything in your pockets. I'm taking all of it. And just, for 3 rounds, just manhandled Esparza. And what's even scarier, she's not like one of those people that's like, I'm going to take you down. I'm just going to sit here and pity-pat punch, and then I'll just get a decision. Like, no, I'm going to beat you up. Like, you're going to know you were in a fight. Elbowed her up, ground and pound, just... And I felt bad for Esparza because there were certain moments where she was able to reverse position, but Suarez is so relentless with takedowns. If she can get a hold of anything, she's grabbing you and you're going back down. Like, by the second round, Esparza's face looked like Martin after he fought Tommy Hearns. Like, lumps just all over her eye after just eating so much ground and pound. One of the most dominant performances I've seen. Like
my only comparison would be like when Ben Askren beat the shit out of Andrei Korshkov, and he landed like 280 something strikes to like Korshkov's like 6.
Yeah.
Except this was worse because everything Suarez threw from the top actually hurt. Like everything had power, which I can't say for when Askren gets on top of you and he just kind of just pitter-patters you for rounds until you basically break. But, like, she's really picking up on, like, the ground and pound. Like, she's starting, she's a the thing is, like, her wrestling, like, the first attempt always failed, but she stuck with it, and, you know, she would double... One of her takedowns was literally like she went for an inside single, I think. Esparza stuffed it, and she grabbed both like one side of I think both of Esparza's arms and just swung around to her back and dragged her down. Like she's just a next level wrestler. We haven't seen somebody like her in MMA yet. Maybe Kanako Murata. I think Sarah McMahon probably got into MMA too late to be like that dynamic athletic wrestler type. but like, I she's a nightmare matchup for basically everybody because nobody's ever faced anybody like her.
Like, if she gets, there's nobody I can see who's strong enough to ward off those takedowns. Like, if she grabs you, it's happening. Like, it's going down.
Right, and she has a motor because she was out there in the third round, like still taking Esparza down, and then just getting on top of her and beating the crap out of her with 30 seconds left on the clock, to the point where the ref had to call the fight.
Yeah, and I'm glad, even though the fight was like almost over. Yeah, I don't think Esparza needed any more punishment. Like, it was just clear that she wasn't. There was there wasn't a comeback. The comeback wasn't happening.
Right,
like there was no.
I feel bad for Esparza because she gets into like this and the Joanna fight are not indicative of how good she is. She's actually really, really good. It's just that she runs into these stylistic matchups where the other person's just so much better at what she does.
Yeah. And it was sad because, like, her last couple of fights, like, we've seen her striking make some strides, and she did not get a chance to show that, like, at all. Like, it didn't matter.
Right.
It just didn't matter. Yeah, man. Suarez is looking real future champish right now.
Like, the only fight I think I could pick against her in fights would be Andrade, just because Andrade is a savage.
Yeah,
she is probably stronger overall than Suarez, but who knows how that factors into the wrestling, because Suarez is obviously a better wrestler. And maybe Joanna Jędrzejczyk, whose entire career was based off of, oh, you're going to try to take me down, I'm going to beat you up while you try and do that.
Right.
So. And those are interesting. Like, I think Andrade gets the next title fight. I think Joanna Jędrzejczyk's probably going to fight Valentina Shevchenko for the flyweight title, or at least that's what the UFC is going to offer her. I don't know. Like, who do you want to see Suarez fight next?
If Joanna, I actually am really intrigued in the Joanna fight, even though I think she should go up to 125. But if she stays at this weight class, I would be really interested to see how that fight goes. Because I think if she gets past Jędrzejczyk in like impressive fashion, I feel comfortable saying she'll be champ, unless Andrade starches Thug Rose. Because I think Andrade and Suarez would just be a battle of two tanks who just have different approaches.
Right. And it's possible they do that fight next because who knows how Rose's fight neck is holding up. Like, we haven't heard anything. Like, I think a month ago she was still talking about she doesn't know when she's going to be back. So, that's concerning.
I mean, because there are other names out here, but I'm just now Suarez is at that point where it's like, I don't want to just see you fight a name just for the sake of fighting the name. Like, who's actually really going to give you some problems?
Right. And, Gadella is a one-round fighter at 115. Like, she is physically, I think she's just physically past it at this point. Like, I don't want to see her fight Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I'm so, like, I don't need to see, like, that's Barboza getting Khabib and then Kevin Lee back-to-back to me.
Yeah.
Like, I get, like, they could do Tisha Torres, but we've seen Torres get taken down by Michelle Waterson.
Yeah.
And like,
I love Torres, but
and she has like nothing to offer back that would worry me for Suarez. She just beat Carlos. I'm just going down the rankings. Like, and the next one I guess would be like the winner of Waterson Herrig. Like, if Andrade is getting the next title shot and Joanna is actually going to fight Valentina for the flyweight title, like, Gadella's booked with Nina Ansaroff. It'd be like Michelle Waterson, Felice Herrig winner, or Courtney Casey. Who I
guess maybe
I think
I wouldn't be mad. The Casey fight would be
like Casey's one of those fighters. Like she gets taken down really easily, and like I can see her just getting her ass beat.
Yeah, like because I was gonna say like
if she's gonna like here's the thing, she's gonna take down whoever she fights. Like I'd rather she fight somebody who has a game off her back. And Casey kind of does. She's a fantastic like up kicker and stuff like that. But like, she is more than content to just sit there and like wait for like the fight to get stood. She's not somebody who's gonna be rolling to a hip to try and get up.
I'm looking at the weight class now, just looking at some of these names, and like there are some good names here, but not anybody who I'm like, oh yeah, they'll give Suarez problems. Like. Even like any of the other young like up and comers, I don't think they want that smoke.
Like she's just like such a weird stylistic matchup because, and it's not weird for like MMA, but it's just like for like I said on the women's side, like there's nobody who wrestles like her. Like how do you prepare for that?
Yeah, best of luck to anybody who's got her next. So. Some problems you might not want in your life. But Tatiana Suarez, whoever they match her up with, I'm really interested. I would love to see the Joanna fight if Joanna stays at 115, but if not, we'll see how that goes. But either way, crazy dominant performance.
I hope she's on. If they end up doing like that triple women's title fight card, put Suarez on that card, please. Like at that, just Waterson, Herrig winner, just give her that. I'd be like, she has to be on that card because she's the next challenger.
Yeah, she got next. This I don't think it's a question. These next 3 fights all had like crazy finishes. Next fight, Aljamain Sterling and Cody Stamann. Stamann's a really solid bantamweight. Like, he's athletic, he's powerful. Striking's not like anything crazy, but like it's competent.
He's a solid fundamentalist.
Yeah.
Fighter.
But he just doesn't have to me like anything that like wows me.
Right.
And I think in this fight, like Aljamain is just, so we've seen him be inconsistent, but when he's on, he's pretty creative. He has his own little thing going on. I don't really know how to put my finger on it, but he's a little different. He's a little, and whatever that little it that he has, it works. I just think he was more well rounded than Stamann. He had more to offer. Lots of kicks, especially like to start off the fight. And then when it came to grappling, like Stamann took him down a couple times, but we seen like Sterling was active off his back. He threw up that triangle. He didn't, sink it in, but he threw it in. He gave Stamann, I just think, a lot to think about. And then that he started the trend of knee bars on this card with just hold up. But before I even get to the knee bar, he almost had Stamann in a full Nelson. Like I don't even know who attempts full Nelsons anymore, but
this is good time doing it.
he like nobody even thinks to do that. Like he literally flattens Stamann's out and then like goes for a full Nelson, has it in for a couple seconds, but doesn't get it. Lets it go. But yeah, man, he ends up on. I can't remember exactly how like the ending sequence was, but he was on Stamann's back. He reaches underneath Stamann's legs, pulls his leg out from under him, and like we said in Zabit fashion, you would normally think, oh, he's reaching under my leg, he's trying to just like sweep, or he's trying to just pull my leg out so he can gain position or make me go off balance. It's like, nah, bro, I'm actually gonna pull your knee out. And with his, it was even worse than Zabit's because he had it like bent to the side.
Yeah,
like it was vicious, and he yanked on that knee, and Stamann had no choice but to tap out. And this Sterling's fun to watch when he's on, man. Like when he's at the top of his game, when he's fighting confident, which I feel like he's been in like his last couple fights since the Moraes KO. This is the Aljamain that I was hoping we would see. Like I hope he stays on this track. I feel like he's slowly becoming that contender that I think some of us thought he could be, but we just needed to see him put it together. And I feel like he's starting to put it together a bit more. And this was just a really another solid performance and amazing finish. Against the top. I think Stamen was top 10. I think he was ranked number 10.
Yeah, because he beat Caraway.
So a really amazing finish against a top 10 opponent, and he won in pretty emphatic fashion with that knee bar that nobody saw coming.
Yeah, I think he's made a conscious effort to make his game work, which it didn't really do. Like when he was fighting a Sunsound Caraway, like it was a lot of kick. Like it was also a lot of kicking, but it was like a lot of kicking in reverse. Because like he just didn't have a boxing game until like the third round of a Sunsound fight, where he was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna just throw. Like against Mendes, against Barral, against Johns, like we've seen him become more comfortable just throwing. And it's setting up his takedowns. It's it's throwing guys off. They don't know what to expect. Like Stamen really struggled with the kicks. Like he just could not get like a good distance on a good beat on range here. And like as you saw, like it was a lot of Sterling instead of Sterling hanging on the outside trying to shoot from distance. A lot of him pushing Stamen back, putting him against the fence, taking him down there. And when he got taken down, it was no big deal. He would just roll through and just like either try to scramble up to his feet or try to get on top. So it just like this was probably the best all-around performance from Sterling in the UFC to date. I'd like to see him fight Jim Rivera next.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that.
Like he called him out. He set the storyline. Let's just get it done.
And I think that's a good enough fight to where like if he wins that puts him in like that contender status.
Right.
Like he breaks that wall now.
Yeah, that or a rematch with Sunsound because I feel like he could beat a Sunsound this time.
Well, we'll see. But protect your knees out there. It's getting dangerous. Guys are grabbing knees and in positions we didn't think it was supposed to happen. So stay safe out there. But yeah, man, Aljamain Sterling, really solid performance, great finish. And speaking of great finishes and great performances, there were a lot. It's really hard to say. I felt like almost like everybody deserved like performance of the night.
It's the type of night where you hope like discretionary bonuses are still a thing in the Endeavor era.
Right. Where they bring you back like, listen, man, here's an extra like $30,000, like just because.
Right.
Jeff Neal, this was one of the performers that really, really stood out for me, which is saying a lot because there was a lot of great performances on this card. But Jeff Neal and Frank Camacho. Not to make fun of Frank, but I saw a tweet. It made me laugh, and then I felt bad after I laughed. Somebody said Frank Camacho is what you get when you order a shady Robbie Lawler on eBay. It's like he's like the downgrade of Robbie Lawler. I thought that was funny, but I like Camacho though, so don't take that personal if you happen to be listening. I just thought that was I chuckled.
I mean, he looks exactly like Robbie Lawler.
Right. But Jeff Neal, man. Speaking of welterweights, exciting welterweights, just new and fresh faces popping up on the scene. This guy put on a performance that was just pinpoint striking, just everything was just perfect. Like he just looked really, really, really good out there. He was catching Camacho with that straight left like it was just money. And I liked how like he doesn't seem like he wastes a lot of energy. He throws things that he's sure that he can land. And I also like, because Camacho is just one of those wild guys who if he can bait you into a brawl, he's about that life. Neil had a couple of moments where like he would land like a crazy flurry, and Camacho's just he's all for that, and then he would kind of ease off a little bit, and then he would wait again to land another. Like he didn't allow himself to get so drawn in to a brawl that well, I don't want to foreshadow into the next fight, but the Charles Byrd fight. He did things so he didn't end up like that.
Right.
And we'll get to that in a few. But he just fights really smart, but his striking is just so pinpoint. It's so beautiful to watch. Props to Camacho for just gutting a lot of this out, and then he had that moment where he literally did channel like a little Robbie Lawler, where he eats like a nice little combo, and then he just starts yelling out of nowhere like a madman. But all that was put to rest with a left head kick, a walk-off grand slam head kick, where
you saw each part of like Camacho's body just shut down as
right.
he realized he's been kicked in the head.
Right. It shut down to like chronological order, like starting from his head, and then his arms, and then his body, and then his legs just bent back. It was like, after that such good performance, that was like the perfect way to end the fight. Like, I just showed you guys like every facet of my striking, and now I'm just gonna go home. So here's my parting gift. And just head kick. Camacho is out cold, no need to follow up. Walk off, KO. One of the best performances of the night. Shout out to Jeff Neal, man. That was amazing. Just no other words.
Yeah, just he really finds that nice balance between like just having the powerful left hand and like just being light on his feet. Like Dan Hooker's another dude he knows when to plant his feet and how to move very quickly once he's done throwing. Because like a lot of time you get guys who just sit there in the pocket and have a firefight. Because they landed, they hit really hard, so they think they have to throw like their entire body into the punch, so they're just there for like that extra second and get caught up in that fire exchange. Yeah, like just all around, just perfect performance from Neal. Like, I'm sure if I was to go back and watch it, I could find something to just be like, oh, you should have done this, but honestly, I wouldn't deserve that because it's just. Camacho's a tough dude. He's been stopped on strikes before, but like this is the same dude who went to war with like the Leech. Like, and the Leech is hella hard, and like his war with Damian Brown, and his war with Drew Dober. Like, there's a guy like Camacho is with the shits. He knows how to brawl. So just to see Neal go in there and just finish him in such a emphatic fashion, like ESPN top 10 play-worthy fashion, is just great. So, like, it's good that we have a welterweight who's exciting on the come-up, because we haven't had a lot of those recently.
Yeah, well, actually, you know what? I can't say you old guys are getting out of here because the old guys showed out on this card too. But, yeah, man, Jeff Neal. Also, like Hassan, I'm just interested to see what they do with them moving forward, like what kind of matchups they give them next and how they'll perform when they start, fighting higher competition. But I don't think he really needs to be rushed or anything. Like I said, that middle of the pack of this division, there are enough violent guys I think you can throw at them that'll give them good fights and they'll still be entertaining while still testing them at the same time.
Right.
So I don't think there's a need to rush them just yet. But I mean, if they keep showing improving, they'll head kick their way into a top 15, fight soon enough.
But let me check something because I'm trying to remember something about Neal. Oh, he's been fighting. Oh, okay. He's been fighting since 2012. All right. So he's still getting better from fight to fight.
Not shabby. Not shabby at all. I wonder what gym he trains out of.
Oh,
because I know he's in Texas. I'm pretty sure he trains out of there. I don't know what gym he's affiliated with.
It does not say on Topology. Let's try.
Yeah, I try to find him on Twitter. I don't even know if he has a social.
He has Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Hands of Steel.
Whatever.
Fortis MMA Strat. I think this is supposed to be Strike Kings, but it just says STR Kings. So
Fortis, where have I heard that name? I think there were some people in LFA who trained out of that.
Charles Bird.
Out of that gym. Yeah. So yeah, I've heard of Fortis before.
Ooh, Eli Tamez, Damon Jackson.
Okay, yeah, Damon Jackson. That's where I remember from.
Rashad Coulter, greatest heavyweight of all time.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. So yeah, man, what the work those guys are doing, man, it's working. Cause Neil is looking extra sharp out here. Like I said, walk off head kick KO, and in a card of violence, this stood out, and that's saying a lot. Cause there were a lot, like I said, there were just so many good performances on this card, but that one stood out to me. So shout outs to Neil, and shout outs to Camacho, who's just always down to bring violence. Always tuning into one of his fights, but Jeff Neal, definitely keep an eye out on that guy. This next fight, Darren Stewart and Charles Bird. I was just about, I don't remember this fight in like super specific detail, but I remember I was literally just about to tweet like how impressed I was with Charles Bird right before this fight ended. Like he was doing so good. Like, it just seemed like everything was just kind of working for him. He was doing really good on the feet. It seemed like he was about to. He was just on his way to have one of those performances where it's like, oh man, maybe we should keep an eye on this guy. Like he looks like he might have something. Like, no, maybe not like not a world beater or maybe a guy who won a title. Just like a solid guy a new face to look forward to. And just as everything looks like it's all systems go, Stewart shut him down in the second round. He caught him with a nasty, really short elbow that kind of clipped him, and I don't think he ever really recovered from the elbow. Like, he got clipped with the elbow, he got startled, he got moved back a little bit, and Stewart started to get his strikes off, and I don't think Bird ever really recovered, and I think he ate like another elbow, and eventually he just collapsed to the ground from the punishment, and they just waved it off. Good job for Stewart for just staying in the fight, because I mean, he was definitely seemed like he was losing, but you're never done until you're done, and he pulled off the best comeback on this card, man. So props to him for just staying in there, surviving that first round, still having his wits about him, and when he got an opportunity, man, because he snuck that elbow in there real quick. It was really slick. And he got Charles Bird out of there, and that poor crowd, it got real quiet after he got that finish. So shout out to Darren Stewart, man. Really great comeback performance. But really good showing from Bird. Just one of those fights, unfortunately, where you're winning until you're not. And he got caught, but Stewart, took advantage of an opportunity and got the job done.
Right, I didn't see most of the fight. I saw at the end with Stewart elbowing the crap out of him. I really have to say, like, Stewart is just dangerous. Like he is, dude is flawed. But he will, if you give him the chance, if you just hang around with him in the pocket, like he's always got that power. I mean, he's a big, strong dude. He's gonna, if he hits you with something, it's gonna hurt. So, yeah, not a whole lot to say about it, but fun finish.
Yeah, really, really, really awesome comeback win. So that caps off the FX prelims. Going down to the Fight Pass prelims, all the No Country for Old Men, all of them showed up, and the old men held it down. Diego Sanchez and Craig White. Before this fight, I was like, I don't really want to see Diego Sanchez fight. I don't really care to see this. But Diego took the young buck. And just kind of beat him up.
Craig White is the worst defensive wrestler in the UFC. Like, and I don't mean that as in like, And I mean that as in he doesn't try. Because the takedowns Diego Sanchez was hitting were like, there was like no resistance. It was like White had never seen the takedown before. And for like the 13 seconds combined that they were on the feet, White hurt the crap out of Sanchez. Like I think he even dropped him once.
Yeah, he caught him. I don't remember what he caught him.
I'm not sure if he dropped him or
he
if he just like pushed him and it just kind of made Diego dizzy. But he definitely knocked him down once, and like Sanchez like scrambled back up to his feet and took him down immediately.
Yeah, it was like when you made this reference earlier. You just kind of beat up your little brother. This was way more violent though.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm surprised White went the distance because he was getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, it was bad. Like Sanchez pretty much did what he wanted, and anytime White had any small moment, yeah, it just didn't matter. Sanchez just he turned back the clock. He turned back the clock.
Like the one thing Sanchez can do is wrestle. Like we learned that when he fought Jim Miller.
Right.
The problem is like most dudes won't let him wrestle. Like Matt Brown and Ali Quince are gonna let him wrestle. So.
Yeah, it was. Oof.
I hate this fight because it's gonna give Diego Sanchez like false hope. Yeah, like now he's gonna be like, you see, I just want to fight against a young guy. I can definitely still hang.
We'll see. Hopefully,
I think he just wants to beat like Roy Nelson's like absorb punch record.
Well, according to a headline that I saw, he said he wants to have a Bisping-like run to end his career. So
yeah, somebody should sit that boy down.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah.
This is your knocking out Luke Rockhold, Diego Sanchez. Accept it and go. Like, why can't we just get like these like Diego Sanchez with BJ Penn? Like just do that.
Why's BJ Penn always gotta get thrown? We need to leave BJ.
Because he's coming back.
I know.
I'm just saying, like, why are we doing this? Why are we having Diego Sanchez fight Matt Brown and Al Iaquinta and freaking what's his name? Like all these young guys, younger guys. Let's beat up guys. Let's go there.
I don't know. We'll see. But for now, old guy turns back the clock. He was one of two elderly gentlemen on this card who turned back the clock. Jim Miller and Alex White. So I remember like when they were doing the walkouts, they were saying like Alex White obviously trains and all that, but apparently like he just doesn't watch a lot of MMA in general. So when he gets a fight, he's just kind of like, oh, I guess I'm just fighting. So like his camp knew who Jim Miller was, and they were really excited because that's it's a name, so established veteran, all that good stuff. And he just kind of like, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, Jim Miller turned back the clock. He put the pause on Mr. Alex White. He looked really fast, really nimble out there on his feet. Just really good with his hands. He clocked Alex with a left. Nice little combination flurry at the end. I think he threw like a left, then it was a right to the body, and then he came back up with the left. Or it might have been vice versa. But either way, it was like head, body, head, drops White. They get on the ground. He just snatches his neck up and chokes him out. And it was over within like a minute and like 30 seconds. And according to Miller, at least I think they said in the post-fight, like, this is the best he's felt since he got diagnosed with Lyme disease. I guess he's been doing better with, like, the diet and all that, so his training camps have been going better. And he's been able to, like, push himself more. So, hey, man, there was another fight where I was like, Jim Miller, I don't want to see him get worked out here by some young gun. But hey, man, have no fear. Old men are out here laying waste to the youngins. Yeah, not much else to say.
Right, like White has always been a terrible defensive fighter, so kind of makes sense that he gets destroyed by Jim Miller coming back off of Lyme disease, or having somewhat recovered from Lyme disease, I should say. So, is it crazy that Alex White pushed James Krause not even like a few months ago, and James Krause moved up and beat the crap out of what's his face, Rolly Alvarez?
Hey man, these weight cuts not worth it, man. Go up a division and starch other people. But shout out to Jim Miller, man. He looked really good out there. We still got. Gee, this next fight was crazy. Irene Aldana and Lucy Pudilova. If I'm saying that right. Just violence on violence on violence. Pudilova, the way the first round ended, where she threw, it was like she was playing Tekken and she just kept alternating between pressing X and circle, and she was just throwing a lot of kicks. Like within that last flurry of the first round, she had like a front kick, a leg kick, a body kick, a spinning kick. Like she was just throwing like every kick she could think of. Now it looked like she had Aldana a little uncomfortable. Like it looked like it wasn't looking too good. But I was impressed with Aldana. I felt like this was one of those fights in a somewhat similar fashion. Just this might be a terrible comparison, but like the Neil Camacho, where like Pudilova in Camacho fashion was looking like she was about that brawling action. She was just trying to throw and kill. But Aldana never got outside of her game. Like she would engage in a few flurries, but she stayed tight for the most part. One thing she did that I love that a lot of my favorite fighters don't do when it costs them. She did a good job of not getting her back caught against the fence. She circled out a lot instead of getting caught against the fence and potentially getting punished for it. She circled out a lot. Really good head movement, slipping punches. This was just a really nice back and forth scrap, but I just think this in the second and the third, Aldana was just a bit more cleaner, better defensively,
fresher.
Yeah, fresher, and then she was battering Pudilova with those leg kicks. Yeah, man, it was a really, and I think this got fight of the night, I want to say, which is crazy because this was the second fight on the card. Like, this was the second fight, and we already got fight of the night. And these two ladies just threw down, just really just good back and forth, non-stop action between both. But like I said, Aldana was just a bit more cleaner, technique just a bit more better, a little more footwork, head movement, all that good stuff. But they both were bloodied up after the fight. Like it was really awesome to watch. So shout outs to Aldana, shout outs to both her and Pudilova, putting on just a really great performance. This was just an awesome fight at bantamweight.
I really thought that Pudilova's pace would break Aldana down the stretch. It turned out to have the opposite effect. Pudilova threw everything she had into every strike. As a result, just faded like halfway through the second round. I'd really like to see more like body punching from Aldana. Like she did a great job here of stopping some of Pudilova's forward movement with like the leg kicks, but like I think she would open up that right hand so much more if she was just throw a jab to the body every once in a while, just something to like stop somebody from from like trying to close distance on her constantly. She, like you said, she did a really good job staying off the fence, not getting caught. Like I'm having like flashbacks to like the Leslie Smith fight where like Smith just like outpunched her, and she did a good job of just not staying in those exchanges, like to the point where like Pudilova was able to throw like 8 or 9 punches at a time. Yeah, no, this is a really good fight for both women. I think they both come much stronger for it. Pudilova's only 24. Aldana really needed this win because I think she's like 1-2 in the UFC prior, or 1-3 or something like that. Like something, she 1-2. She was 1-2. Like she was actually coming off her first win, beating Talita Bernardo, back in January. So it keeps her in the UFC. It shows that she's still growing. She hasn't been fighting that long, I want to say. Like 2012, I guess, kind of been fighting a while. 5 years, 6, going on 6. But like we're starting to see her game round out in ways that we haven't before. So I'm excited to see if she can, if she takes that next step and actually becomes like a contender. Because that's all that's next.
Yeah, I was gonna say in a division that really needs
someone, anyone, everyone.
Come here, ye to anyone who can, breathe a little bit of life back in the bantamweight. But yeah, great performance from both fighters. And the last fight on the card, Jared Brooks and Roberto Sanchez. I don't remember this fight in a ton of fashion. I just remember it being a lot of takedowns, and Brooks getting the better of most of them. I think there was one point where like one of them went for a knee bar for like half a round or something like that, if I'm thinking of the right fight. But yeah, I just remember it just being a lot of takedowns, and eventually towards the latter half of the fight, like Brooks just kind of took control. I was actually surprised this even went to a split decision, but yeah, Brooks handled him more on the ground, just kind of was able to get on top of him. Roberto couldn't offer much from his back. Yeah, just kind of took him down, ground and pound. Just kind of one of those kind of fights. Not super exciting, just a solid performance to just get a win. Which for Brooks, with some of the way his fights have been going lately, and the fact that I think he took this fight on 5 days notice. I don't know, did you hear about what happened to him after the fight?
Yeah, so apparently, according to Brooks, he passed out like almost immediately after leaving the octagon. Like there was a fan in attendance who tweeted out that she saw Jerry Brooks like pass out while he was walking to the back. Then he woke up and threw up a whole bunch. And according to him, it's because he was just exhausted. He had to cut weight and like where's Jerry Brooks based out? Is he based out of Florida? Like travel, all that good stuff. He basically had to make weight by Friday for this fight, which. I don't know. Like he said, he was in gym shape. I don't know what that means. Like I don't know if that means he was walking like 15 pounds overweight, or he was if he was just doing one a days and stuff like that. Like if you're gonna have a last minute replacement, like just do catch weight. Like have him come in at 130 or whatever.
All right. We don't need guys like almost killing themselves.
Yeah, especially for like the first fight on a fight past prelim that really ultimately probably doesn't mean anything. Shouts to Brooks, like he like not trying to take away from what he did out there. Like Sanchez came out early with the wrestling. He was on top for the good majority of the first round. And then Brooks came out and just took him down for the last two, as Sanchez kind of just sat there and didn't do anything, not off his back. Like he really did. Like he tried to. Like, I think he was the one who tried to get the knee bar in the third, but like for like the most part, he was just. Oh no, that was Brooks in the first round. He was trying to like he was using it to try to like get Sanchez off him, but yeah, like Sanchez really didn't have an answer off his back, which is really weird because he's a jiu-jitsu dude. Like he wasn't even trying for stuff. It felt like. Brooks really didn't do much with top position. Like I want to say towards the end of the third round, he was really throwing. Like he was really putting some stuff, some oomph into the ground and pound the elbows. But it wasn't a very fun fight. It was kind of dull. To be honest.
It was one.
Yeah, it's what happens when you come in on 5 days notice. Like this is obviously not peak Brooks, and Sanchez, to his credit, was supposed to fight somebody completely different in like Ryan Benoit,
Yeah.
So.
But like I said, so that's like 2 meh fights out of a bunch of other ones that just ended in violent or crazy fashion.
Right.
So there will be no complaints. And like I said, 5 days notice. I can't really ask you to do much more. Like you just went out there and got a win. So shout out to Jared Brooks for coming on 5 days notice and handling business. And that was it. That was UFC 228. This is one of the best cards I think I've seen this year. Like, I felt like there was something for everybody. Like, if you were a fan of older guys and just wanted to see them win, they won. If you wanted to see new prospects and new faces to get excited about, you definitely saw that. If you wanted to see some brutal knockouts, you saw that. There was something for everybody on this card. And more importantly, like a lot of these fights, aside from just being exciting, like they had meaning. You know, Woodley is adding to his legacy. You know, Suarez is further showing she's a top contender and she's ready to make that next leap. Andrade, the same, showing she's ready for another title shot. A lot. I think there's a lot of good to pull from this card. Yeah, I was thoroughly enjoyed this from top to bottom. Like, this whole card had me interested. It like I said, and everybody died so quick, so it went by kind of fast, or at least it felt like it. So I didn't feel like I was dragging watching this. This was awesome from top to bottom. And okay, I had it pulled up and then I lost it. So Montano put out a statement about the whole situation, and just to paraphrase, because this is a wee bit long, so just to read a couple of these sentences. So she said, "I stopped sweating early, my kidneys shut down, I had an imbalance of electrolytes, my sodium levels were way too high. When I got to the hospital, the doctor told me that it was the best idea, that if I had waited even 30 minutes longer, it could have led to cardiac issues. With that said, I had no intention to drop out of the fight. I looked good at open workouts, so on and so forth." So kind of just to paraphrase some of this from what I'm reading, she wanted to make the fight, I guess she knew, she wanted to make the fight in October, basically, to give her time to have like the proper weight cut and all that good stuff. But they wanted her, I guess, like forcibly to take this fight in September. And they were threatening, I guess, even beforehand to strip the title from her had she not taken it in September. So she just signed the contract because she, obviously didn't want to lose her belt, and she just wanted to make the fight. She goes on into some other details. I'm sure you guys can find this. I'm reading this on MMAweekly.com from a Twitter link that I just randomly saw pop up on my timeline. So if you guys want to look further into that situation, and I think she posted it on her Twitter also and on Instagram. So if you want to just get any more in-depth look into how that whole situation went down, or at least hear her side of the story, it is out there. But that's got to put her in a weird spot, though, because it's like you never even got to defend your belt. They strip it from you. Like you said, if things go the way we think they'll go, they'll probably do Shevchenko versus Jędrzejczyk. And I imagine that even when you come back, I don't think they're rushing to put you in a title
right.
fight. So it's like it's almost like she can't win, like, because when you come back, and I'm sure she comes back, I don't know what they're gonna do with you.
Who knows? Like, my guess would be they would give her the toughest matchup possible, and that I guess punishment, because that's kind of what they do. I don't know, but she's probably not going to be fighting for the for the title anytime soon. Again, which sucks, but because she's a great story.
Yeah,
it really is. If you guys haven't read it, go read her profile. That I think is Scott Morgan. I can't remember the dude's name. Something Morgan. Scott Harris, I think, actually. Scott Harris.
And it just sucks that she won't get a chance to, like say, you got the belt, and you never really got to show.
Right.
You know, regardless of how you thought she would do in the fight, all that aside, like, you still just want to see it. Just everybody deserves a chance to show, like, what they can do, and, like, it seems like she's not gonna, well, at least anytime soon, you know, really get that chance.
Right. But if you guys want, go check out the profile that Scott Harris did on her for Bleacher Report. It's actually pretty insightful. It tells you about her upbringing, you know, what her culture means to her. Like, she was talking about how, like, after she won the title, she went home, like, her whole community threw this, like, whole super parade for her, which is really cool. Yeah, it's really good stuff. Go check it out.
Well, that's pretty much it for the episode. Awesome card. Went by pretty fast. If you didn't see it in real time, definitely go back and watch all of these fights. You will be thoroughly entertained. So yeah, I guess we can just move on to parting shots and shout outs. I guess I got a couple shout outs. We briefly mentioned it earlier, but shout outs to Naomi Osaka, who took on Serena Williams in the US Open Finals. I didn't get a chance to watch this, but she won, from what I saw, in pretty dominant fashion. I won't address, for one, I can't really address all the controversy in the match because I didn't see it. So I don't want to comment on something I didn't really watch unfold myself. But all of the drama and all of that aside, to be 20 years old, be playing in the U.S. Open, yet alone making it to the finals and beating, like, one of the greatest athletes we've probably ever seen, that's crazy to do at 20 years old. So shout outs to her. Shout outs to Serena, who just seemed like it's been her against the world for, like, these last forever and a day now. And she's still out here making it to the finals, still out here, you know, obviously she fell short, but just still being the Serena that we know she can be. So shout outs to her. Also shout outs to the University of Kentucky football team. College football is back in full swing. I think they beat the University of Florida for the first time since, like, 1986, which was before I was even born. So shout outs to y'all, because that's a long drought.
Right.
To take an L. Like, I was born in '89.
Damn, you old.
You guys' last one was in '86. Yeah, I did just throw my age out there. I'm a little old head now. I'm getting up there. I tell people at my job I would go to sleep early because I'm old and washed now. I can't stay up like I used to.
I feel you.
Yeah, when it's like 10:30, really before 10:30. It's like 10:30. I'm looking at the clock like, all right, it's about time to wrap this up. I gotta go to sleep. But yeah, shout outs to University of Kentucky football team and Naomi Osaka. I feel like I had a shot, but I don't know. I'm in good spirits today, so I'm not gonna be negative. I'm not gonna throw any shots at anybody, though there are plenty of people who deserve it. But I'll let them live.
Shouts to this website, teacherfunded.info. If you're a teacher and if you pay for school supplies, teaching supplies out of pocket, is a database where you can go and log how much you spend of your income into what you put into your classroom. Teachers don't get paid nearly enough to do their jobs. We all know that. There's a great tool to see how much teachers have to reinvest of their own salary into our children's education. So I think it's a great tool. It's when I checked it this morning, I think it was down, but I think that's because it, like, kind of just blew up on Twitter, and the guy who developed it probably didn't build the website to, you know, deal with so many people. But, you know, eventually, by the time y'all hearing this, it should be back up. Check it out. Great tool. A little bit more somber. R.I.P. Mac Miller. I was a big Mac Miller fan, but I do remember I went to Rock the Bells down there in Maryland, I think actually, almost 10 years ago, and Miller was there. He wasn't performing or anything. He was literally just there hanging out, just talking with fans and stuff. And he was cool and chill. He had a whole conversation with my brother, who was a fan of his. And mind you, he was 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, he was really young when he started.
He was a young guy. He was not. He's only a year older than me. Maybe he was only a year older than me. So that was really cool. So of him to sit there and talk to us for that little bit of time. So
it was. I mean, obviously sad situation, but it has been good to hear all of the stories I've heard about him since he passed. Nobody's had a bad thing to say about him. It just seems like he was really one of the few people you come across as just genuinely a good person, and he's not out here wasn't stepping on people's toes or wilding out going crazy, just genuinely a good dude.
Right.
Yeah, his story kind of hit. I ain't gonna say hit home, but it kind of stung a little extra because, I wasn't a huge fan of his. Though my one Mac Miller story that the one time I dove into his music, I was very thankful. I think the first time I gave him a full album listen was I don't remember what was the album called. Movies with the Lights Off. The cover where he's sitting naked at the table and the parental advisory stickers blocking out his junk. But I remember the night. I don't know if that was the day the album came out, but I remember that night before I listened to it. I listened to Yeezus before, and I hated Yeezus. I was so mad after I listened to that album, and I was I do not want to end my night listening to Yeezus because this left a really bad taste in my mouth. And then people were talking about Mac Miller. I was let me give this a listen. I've listened to him in passing, but never a full album listen. And I remember really liking that album. It was a lot better than what I thought it was gonna be. He had a lot of just nice cuts on there, and I just remember that album made me feel a lot better about that night after I had to suffer through Yeezus. So yeah, that's the one memory of his music that I have. But yeah, man, it was just really sad because he, like I said, I'm 29. He was only 26 years old. That's crazy. So much more life to live and things to do, and it really seemed like his career was really going on an upside. Because I remember the first couple times I had heard him when he first came out, and it was kind of one ear out the other. But I could tell even just by keeping an eye on him, his last 3 to 4 projects, he's shown so much growth. And then I know a lot of people been posting the little NPR Tiny Desk concert that he had. That was pretty good. It just seemed like he was really on the up and up, and it sucks to lose somebody that early in life because there's so much more you could have done, and and the people who are blaming Ariana Grande y'all gotta
at you.
Chill.
Y'all fucking
that's
terrible.
the shot. Yeah, that's just
y'all literally the worst people on earth.
Yeah, and I don't even want to dive into that too much. But y'all, just don't do that. Don't be one of those people. That's not her fault, whatsoever, at all.
Just so we don't end on I don't want to say a dour note, but shouts to Amanda Serrano, record breaking 6th divisional world champion. She is 6 different divisions, 6 different titles. I think she already held the record for most by a woman already. I think this is most by anybody actually now, man or woman. So shout out to her for that.
Is she getting into
She
MMA?
fought in Combat to Americas, and she won 2 rounds and then got her ass kicked in the 3rd round, so it was a draw. So I think she just went back to boxing, which I can't blame her for. Hopefully, I'm hoping she gets some big paydays down the line somewhere, somehow. They start putting her fights on Showtime. Like, she's a fun fighter. Like, not that it should count for anything, but she's also good looking. Like she has like a personality for TV. Like, there's no reason she shouldn't be on TV.
I'm completely oblivious to boxing weight classes. She's not anywhere near Cyborg.
She just won yesterday at 140, but she is a natural 126 130er.
Oh, all right, never mind.
No, she is not. If anybody's gonna fight her, Cyborg should be like Cecilia Breakhouse or what's her face? Let me just pull up this real quick before we go. Ratings, junior welterweight, yeah. Or super lightweight, whatever. God damn, I hate boxing so much. Just pick a name and stick to it. I guess it'd be Erica Farias, who's the number one at 140 out of Argentina. What do they say like that? Argentina. So it's her. It's Breakhouse. Oh wait, no. It's her. It's Breakhouse and McCarter. And I guess super welterweight, which would be junior middleweight, which would be Hannah Gabriel's, the woman who Clarissa Shields just beat. So, yeah, if Cyborg really wants to do the boxing thing, there are women to fight. Probably more than there are for her in
MMA. Which is crazy. But, yeah, shout out to Toronto. I caught a little bit of tail end of that fight. So, yeah, man, that's pretty much been another episode of the Dojo Talk Podcast. Real last thing I'll say before we leave. Planning my book rollout soon. So I'll be recording podcasts in relation to that. There'll be more writing focused podcasts, I guess, so to speak. I'm hoping to have at least an episode out by the end of this month. I'll get some time off of work in the next couple of weeks, around the 22nd. So I'll have a lot of free time on my hands. So I'm hoping to use that free time to work on that. So and just to kind of roll it around in somewhat relation to the Mac Miller thing. One of my first topics that relates, I think, to a lot of creative things that doesn't get talked about is just like mental health and things like that. So that's something I definitely will dive really deep into for that first episode. So be on the lookout on that. That'll be something. And I will tie this all somehow into the rollout of my book. I'm learning as I go. I'll figure this out. But that'll be a thing. But anywho, that's been another episode of the Dojo Talk Podcast. Check us out on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. Your iTunes, please rate, subscribe, leave a review. Listen to us on Google Play. Check out the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page. Follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. Thank you guys for listening. All the Twitter listeners and Tumblr listeners and all you guys who like and repost. Definitely appreciate it. But we are out of here. I want to go eat and then play Spider-Man. So, as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we'll be there to talk about it. And until next time, we will catch you guys later.